All right, guys, can you believe Friday is upon us already? Let's watch this video for Friday, Friday the 13th. That can't be good. Um, Showing you the SPY here, we gapped up, basically sitting right around all-time highs. After 6.5 hours of the trading session today, the SPY ends up closing about where it opened. So if you were frustrated at all today, there wasn't much movement in anything. I really struggled finding something to trade. I did throw out a couple bids on some movers and just could not get filled. I finally caught a neat pullback in one in that RUHM, which I'll show you in a little bit. But it chopped around for a while, and I basically sold it where I bought it, and then watched it run like 40 cents or something like that. Anyway, it was one of those days. I ended up down $99 today, and if you got to have a red day, I'll take that. Anything plus or minus, really a couple hundred for me, I just call a flat day. So felt like a waste of time, but that's okay. It's like a soccer player getting extra touches, and just. I still got a few trades in, and I always call that a good thing because traders should be trading, right? You got to keep your feet wet. Here we go. Believe it or not, this is on my watch list. This is SDC, Smile Direct Club. Came public today, and we have one candle to go on, right? It opened up here and just sold off most of the day. I'm just going to watch it tomorrow. I like the idea of a possible bounce. I think I think the pricing was up over 21 or 22. So I don't know. Maybe they think maybe they deem it oversold on the very second day. Who knows? I think it's worth having on a chart. Not a whole lot of chart to go on. Chewy. Speaking of kind of recent IPOs, Chewy all the way down here near recent lows. It's been down like a week straight. So certainly on bounce watch. AVTR I had on bounce watch coming into today, and we just have another red day, no triggers in it today, so it just goes back on bounce watch for tomorrow. ARA had this massive move from $6 to almost 14 in about a week, and now we've got one red day. Typically you'd want to see it come back down and get in this buy zone between the 8 and the 20, but I'm going to watch it tomorrow and see. It's worth noting that on this entire move, it still never hit 1 million shares a day, so that's probably a really thin one, and I don't even think I've ever watched this thing trade. I just happened to find it today doing scans. I'd like to see it come in another day before I got really interested. AUTL, another really thin one, but it did trade over 7 million shares about a week ago, right? It had a nice run from 10 to, what was the high there? Almost 17 in 2 days, right? So now you're down a few days into the 8-day, near the 20-day. So I am going to put this on bounce watch, but I am going to point out also, it only traded 108,000 shares today, but anytime I have a stock move from 10 to almost 17 in 2 sessions, and then a clean pullback, right, a partial retracement, definitely worth putting on a chart because that sucker can move when it moves, right? NTech, this is a penny stock, but if I zoom in, you had this huge gap down, a couple of attempts here at breaking out of this little island down here, big volume. I don't know what, 2.5 weeks ago, popped it up to 82 cents. Then it went sideways for a while, and then finally 4 sessions ago, broke out to almost a buck, hit 98 cents, flagging again and curling back up. So today's high was 95. If it takes out 95 tomorrow, I look to the left and say, well then 99 cents gets it to new highs, and then you think maybe we just push right through a buck and get a decent percentage move. So I do like the chart setup. And I think it's worth watching. All right, decent volume on the green days lately, you'll notice too, right? TRNX, this was unwatched today, no triggers in it, but it did have this, sizable move for this one, $1.70 to 230, and then today a quiet inside day. It seems to have had nice support right here for a week and a half or so, and then breaking out of that support. So I do think it's interesting over today's high, which would be over 220, and then you've got this 230 high from yesterday just above. So I do think this one's a little bit interesting. JAGX, I feel silly having this on watch, but it did have big volume today. See that big volume stick? And I'm going to zoom in now so you can kind of see it better. It is breaking out of probably a month's worth of trading, almost. It topped out at 149 today and closed down at 133. Maybe a red to green tomorrow. It doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart. LXRX had the gap up yesterday, put in a red day, gap down today, and then curled right back up. So over today's high would be over 255, and yesterday's high is only 271. not that far away. So you kind of have an interesting situation there. I'm going to put it on watch. RUHN, I mentioned this one, had a massive move today. Those of you that are in our chat room, I know I have a mixture of people in chat and not in chat. I had called this down here looking for the 7 flush, and you'll notice that 560, that famous 560 we talk about all the time, look how close it got. And you know I love bidding in front of the half. Look at that. It got down barely into, when I say in front of the half, I mean in the 50s. Got barely into the 50s, and I did not. I was not sitting there with my bid. It went to 657, and I mean within, let's see, it's 5-minute candles. Within 5 minutes, it's up like, I don't know, 80 cents. That's a nice one. Anyway, I did not get that, but it's another example of one of those places I like to sit with a bid. I just, I had one of those days where I just was never where I needed to be. This is a big volume day, relatively recent IPO, and a close above the middle of the range, but certainly far from the highs. I definitely think this is one to watch for a red to green or something along those lines tomorrow with the way it moved today. And then lastly, AKTX. There's nothing really pretty here, but in after hours, it's trading at 223 right now. So it's gapping up. What was this high back here? This high was 245. So not much of a gap, but it's getting after hours volume. 231 is the 200-day. I don't know. This one hardly ever moves. It had a nice day this day, but other than that, it usually gets slapped down. It had a big move back here. Anyway, we'll see if it's gapping in the morning. It's a possible gap play setup as well. Remember what I was saying in chat, though, about the gap plays recently. There's a lot better stuff to trade, in my opinion, in this current environment. All right, we'll see you all in chat tomorrow. Have a good night.